It is October 28th, and welcome to the Damon Bruce Show here on Damon Bruce Plus. We are brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches, and oh man, it wasn't pretty. It didn't need to be. It just had to go into the win column, and it did. Victory Monday is upon us. The 49ers took care of business against the Dallas Cowboys, and again, it was a better game in the box score for the 49ers than it looked like in the actual game that you were watching. I mean, Dallas kind of closed the gap there at the end. It made what looked to be a fourth quarter walk in the park, a little bit of a butt clencher for everybody. And that is the way of the Niners. You know, they take a game that they look like they're fully in control of, and by hook or crook or some other reason, now this other team is right back into it. And that happened. But the Niners took care of business when it was all said and done. And what they needed to do was win, and they did. They're now 21-19-1 historically against the Cowboys all time. And they have, including a playoff victory, won 4 in a row against the Dallas Cowboys. 4 in a row. And you're right, Otis. It's real simple. Great win for the 49ers last night, despite it being close at the end. I mean, the Niners still covered. But look, it's exactly what they needed. And now they get a chance to reset the season in a bye week that I'm sure they are thrilled to have right in front of them. I mean, this is a team that was looking for a bye week. This is a team that's looking for some running back health in Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason, whose shoulder is clearly bothering him. He had to leave that game last night. Isaac Guerendo, hello, young man. It feels like you became a little bit more of an NFL running back on Sunday Night Football than we assumed you might be going into Sunday Night Football. Now, I don't know if that's the Cowboys and how bad they are playing a defense against the run, but Guerendo looked really good. Ricky Pearsall looked really good. Renardo Green looked really good. Malik Mustafa looked really good. Dominic Pooney is paving the way for 223 rushing yards, the second game this season with 220 more rushing yards. These are rookies that are paying off. I don't know if this season is going to be everything you want it to be, but for the first time, it's not just one or two guys from a rookie class that are playing well. The 49ers got a rookie class that matters. You know, Jacob Cowing officially joins the party some point in time here. This is a hell of a rookie class. We'll see where it goes. Tatum Bethune, I'd love to see him more involved. Really would. It was a night where they needed to run the ball. And they did run the ball very effectively, even though at times it didn't look like it or feel like it. At the end of the night, you open up that box score and you're like, oh, holy shit, running for over 223 yards. Okay. Like, that's hard to shake a stick at. Brock Purdy made great choices with his feet, with his head. He did not put the ball in harm's way, with the exception of, oh my God, thank you, Aaron Banks, for falling on that fumble, because Brock Purdy pump faked in this game and just lost the ball. It just slipped out of his hand, and Aaron Banks jumped on that fumble, which was right on his feet, and thank God for that. There was another time where Brock had a pass tipped, and it nearly fluttered and fell into the hands of a Cowboy defender, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So a couple of close turnovers did not hurt the 49ers, where a couple of actual turnovers did hurt Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys' chances for sure. But as you saw on the thumbnail that hopefully brought you in here today, by the way, welcome, hit like, hit subscribe. It is great having you here for a Victory Monday. I want to talk about George Kittle. Because, hey, diddle, you're not winning that game last night without George Kittle. And I don't know how many games the 49ers have won this year without George Kittle, who is the only guy who is scoring touchdowns when they get into the red zone. This guy is one of the premier blockers in the game, full stop. You know, there was a huge play that was called back on an Eric Sauerbert holding call that would have had Debo house it. There were more points out there on the board that the 49ers were denied due to a sloppy game from a penalty standpoint. But man, George Kittle, while we have been worried and feeling the anxiety and complaining about what the year has looked like for so many different games and for so many different guys and the disappointment, that has just been baked into the first half of this 49ers season. We have missed what I think, under the circumstances, is the best season George Kittle has ever had. Based on what you needed out of George in this year, where you're not getting what you need out of other guys, due to availability, injury, slowing down, whatever. George Kittle is the most dependable week in, week out offensive presence on the San Francisco 49ers. He really has become that. 6 catches, a team-high 128 yards, a touchdown against the Cowboys. It's his 6th touchdown already this season, the 43rd of his career. His 128 receiving yards give him 503 on the season. That is the 8th consecutive year where he's had 500 or more receiving yards, and the only other tight ends who have ever done that to start a career are Gronk and Hall of Famer tight end Ozzie Newsome. Those are the only other tight ends who have produced like Kittle consistently produces over the beginning of his career. I did a wake up with Larry Krueger this morning. Thought it went smashingly. Hopefully you agree. I know a lot of you were already in there watching that show. He brought up the fact that Tim Ryan said George Kittle is by far and away the 49ers' best tight end. And again, Brent Jones might have something to say about that, and Vernon Davis might have something to say about that, but they really don't. Those are the other guys that used to be in the conversation for best tight end. It now belongs to George Kittle and George Kittle alone. He is the one. Well, he hasn't won that Super Bowl. Yeah, but he's produced in a way that only wide receivers have produced for this franchise. As a matter of fact, George Kittle is now 5th all time in franchise receptions. 5th all time. He is 3rd all time in receiving yards, only behind Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. That's it. So he is up there with the 2 greatest wide receivers really the sport has ever seen. And it's amazing. You look at the franchise most receptions list. George Kittle is now 5th with 500. He's 6 away from Dwight Clark, who's at 506, 8 away from Roger Craig, who's at 508. And then you got Terrell Owens, who's at 592. And then Jerry Rice is at 1,281, like way, 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 way far away. Most receiving yards in franchise history. Again, Kittle 3rd all time now with 6,777 yards. You got T.O. with 8,572 yards. And then Jerry Rice way in front, 19,247 career receiving yards for the 49ers. So Jerry's Rice is his spot at number 1, I think, is pretty safe. But it is incredible. Absolutely incredible how good George Kittle is at the sport of football. And that's just from a receiving standpoint. You add in the fact that he is a premier run blocker, and he really is, as he is claimed to be on what is now, National Tight Ends Day, whatever the hell yesterday was, the people's tight end. I mean, he's the real deal, man. The real deal. And without him, I don't know where the 49ers would be, not only in this season, but you go back and you look at what he's meant to last few seasons. This guy is at the center of all good things happening around the 49ers. I think he knows how to keep the locker room loose. I think George Kittle is the right guy to get serious around when it's time to get serious. I think he's the right guy to, cut the fart in the meeting that makes everybody laugh and lightens the room a little bit. Like, I think George Kittle is among the most perfect teammates I've ever covered. What an awesome teammate this guy is. He knows how to focus everyone. He knows how to lighten the load. And on game day, the only thing he does is produce with a level of consistency that sometimes you don't even notice. You don't even appreciate it. He's a special player, a very, very special player. Little special super chat to get the day of generosity going here in the chat. Because we won, go Niners. The boss pals just dropping $5 in that JJ Raider ganja jar. We got Jay saying, Vernon was the only vertical threat. And he was the only guy who could get off the line. Vernon Davis was a special player, no doubt. Very good player. Not quite George Kittle, though. Here's a good way to say it. E. Scott Burns. Kittle is the Hunter Pence of the 49ers. He really is. He's like their spirit animal. He's an important part of their lineup. He's their spirit animal. He's the look good, feel good, play good guy. He really is. He's like the perfect tight end. When you look at the all-around game, and you really want to say it's more than just receptions. It's about how you block as well. George Kittle is one of the finest to have ever played the position in the history of the sport. And I don't think that that's hyperbole or an exaggeration. I think he's a Hall of Fame tight end. I think he's a Hall of Fame tight end. And that'll be a hell of a Hall of Fame induction speech. We all know that. Kittle loves the attention. He loves when the camera finds him. And whenever the camera finds him, he performs. Guy just delivers. So, here to George Kittle. I mean, let's appreciate that guy. Sporticus says, I need to know more about the process used by the committee that determines national fill-in-the-blank days. Yeah, how does it happen? How does that happen? You know, there's a National Cheeseburger Day. Who picked the day that is National Cheeseburger Day? Did the nation's cheeseburger lobbyists all get together and pick that day? I don't know how it happens either. I don't know how it happens. Chef A says Kittle, and he seemingly has an awesome wife. Yeah, I tell you, 49ers wives seem to be a group of, you ladies seriously got your shit together, group of gals. I mean, from the high business acumen of the use checks, I think you can extend that to, Mrs. Kittle, who's a part of his big Zenny ad campaigns. You got some really good women standing behind some really good men. You got Miss Universe behind Christian McCaffrey, and hopefully she's doing all sorts of Miss University things to get him healthy and in the right mindset to come back and return after the bye week. What a massive bye week it is for the 49ers. I mean, there's the whole trade deadline is approaching. You now know who you are as the first half ends. You treaded water to the point where you are 4-4. This is not a great record, but it hasn't sunk you at all. You're a first place team. Every single one of your preseason X marks the spot of goals can still be reached. How aggressive they are at the deadline, or how much they're just sitting back and saying, well, you know what? We're going to get Juwan Jennings healthy, and we're going to get hopefully a healthier Debo here, and we are going to get Christian McCaffrey entering the chat room, and eventually Dre Greenlaw is going to be in the mix. Talanoa Hufanga may return. It feels like there's some cavalry out there to help circle the wagons in this second half. But it begins in earnest with a stretch of 4 games where you got to go 3-1. You really do. I mean, the next month of football will tell us where the Niners are in this league. 3 big road games at Tampa Bay, at Green Bay, at Buffalo, home to the Seattle Seahawks. And you can't find a bigger slate of games right there. That is where the gauntlet will be run. And then it's what? Bears, and then it's Lions. Like, it does not let up. Let's see what they look like after this most important bye week, where they have the ability to rest up, heal up, and thanks to the trade deadline, improve the team. Fascinating stuff. It's an interesting year. There is no doubt about that. The interesting year is officially here. And thank you very much, Iceman. Will Bosa hat bring an unnecessary distraction? No, but I got to tell you, everyone has the right to display their political view. And then everyone has the right to then have that position scored either for or against you. I don't want to get into politics, but there is one side of a conversation here that is clearly on the side of overt level of racism, to where last night at Madison Square Garden, they're telling black people like to eat watermelon jokes. They're telling jokes about how Puerto Rico is an island full of garbage people. I mean, if that's what you're comfortable supporting publicly, you go right ahead. But everyone has the right, I think, to look side-eye at you and said, well, you're on the wrong side of history, and hopefully you're going to be on the wrong side of this election. Women of the world, you have one job to do. Make this motherfucker go away. I'm tired of him. But no, I don't think it's going to be much of an unnecessary distraction. The distraction that I care about Nick Bosa being is a distraction for opposing quarterbacks. He got to Dak last night, and as of right now, he is leading the NFL in quarterback pressures. That's all I care about when it comes to Nick Bosa. That's all I care about. What do you do to help the football team win? That's it. There are choices out there. There are choices out there. And if you're choosing to support someone who's clearly the most exposed, absolutely, a useful idiot to enemies, and that's who you want to support, I guess that's you. Do I think Kamala is perfect? No, but I would vote for a jar of pickles before I voted for someone who is clearly the most detestable political voice of my lifetime. There you go. That's how I feel. If you had to go away because that conversation was a little uncomfortable for you, you're just the kind of pussy this channel's not for. So there you go. Hit that like, smash that button. And if you really want to support this channel, you support those who support it, starting with this man right here. Ike's has a delicious sandwich. No matter what way you lean politically, he's got a sandwich that is going to be for you. He's got a little something for everybody. And right now, I want you to download that Ike's Rewards app. And if you do, you will be entered for a free sandwich right there when you do that for the first time. You will also be a candidate to win fabulous prizes like chips, drinks, combo meals whenever you order off the Ike's Reward app. And you will be entered for a trip for two to New Orleans to a very large football game that's going to be happening at the Superdome. Get yourself to Ike's, download that app, and you might be getting yourself to New Orleans. I certainly hope you get yourself to the Dubliner this Sunday. It's a bye week, and that means Plus Mania 5, the Plusening, is upon us. I hope you can make it to the Dubliner in West Portal. We're going to be gathering around noon. We're going to be hanging out. We're going to be watching football. We're going to be eating hot dogs and sandwiches and just kicking it. Smiley Dan will be keeping us safe. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you there. And let me tell you, if you want to see yourself get some good odds, go to BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 when you sign up, and your first deposit will see 150% deposit match up to $2,000. Your second two deposits, 125% up to $2,000 when you sign up using promo code YouTube150 at BetUS. So checka that out, and you will hopefully have a winner chicken dinner cashing in for you. What, on a Monday Night Football? We got Steelers and Giants wrapping up week 8 for us with a Monday Night Football game. We got some other interesting things to watch this evening, and we'll get to all of that in just a second. I just hope that the 49ers defense is starting to turn the corner because, again, there's a lot of people who, no matter what happens, just look like, oh, Purdy stinks, fire the head coach. No matter what happens, even if they win games, that guy, he stinks, fire the head coach. That guy, he stinks, fire the head coach. Brock Purdy hasn't missed a tackle this year. Brock Purdy is not the guy who is not getting the job done defensively. There were way too many examples of Cowboy running backs falling forward last night. They're still not tackling Johnny on the spot when they need to. We can see that. We can see that with our own two eyes. They need to get better, but I do think they are getting a little bit better. I think they are. Fred Warner, Mr. Consistent, a team-high 8 tackles, pass defended last night. Jair Brown, 5 tackles, an interception. Diamador Lenore, 6 tackles, an interception. This team now has an interception in 5 consecutive games. Feels like that's improvement. And there's still guys running into each other, leaving CeeDee Lamb wide open for touchdowns. Like, there are coachable and correctable moments waiting for this 49er coaching staff all over this bye week. This was the first week without a special teams catastrophe. So if that's pointed in a new direction, fantastic. Right there, you become a much better football team. I mean, it's out there for them. I see the unpolished gem that is the 2024 49ers season. I still see it out there. If they play really good football, as they're getting really good football players added back into their lineup, it should improve. You know what this defense is missing? It's missing a motherfucker like Dre Greenlaw. They're missing him badly. By the way, T. Dizzle, thank you very much for the ganja jar sizzle for the jar of pickles. Thank you very, very much. Damon, that Damon Bruce sandwich is my favorite at Ike's, and I'm not just saying that because I'm watching the show. Nick, thank you. Look, I'm delicious. I am delicious. I love a Damon Bruce. I love a Jamie Sirewich. I love an Adam Richmond. The backstabbers, like having a crunchy, crispy Caesar salad right on a sandwich. I like the Menage a Trois. I like the Madison Bumgarner. There's so many good sandwiches. And what I really, truly love at Ike's, and you can get it at the Mission Rock location in San Francisco, is you can get a burger at Ike's. Oh, those burgers are so good. So good. Sip of the day. I mean, it's actually a little past its prime because I've been drinking coffee since 8:30 in this morning already, but that was good right there too. Sometimes a room temperature sip can qualify for sip of the day. It was good to see Isaac Guerendo start to get it, right? It looked like he was starting to get it. Now, maybe that just is the Cowboys are that bad defensively against the run, and so that's why Guerendo looked good. But I hope not. I hope it's more than that. I hope it's really him seeing holes, hitting holes, getting to that 5th gear of his. Guerendo getting better is a huge step forward for this offense. Ricky Pearsall, come on. You know, what would this year have looked like had Ricky been available every week at the beginning of the year? Where would he look in this game? If this had been more than just his 2nd game out there with all of it happening for real. I mean, I saw what I can only describe as marked improvement from one week to the next. Now he's got a bye to sort of rethink things, and then coming out against Tampa Bay, Ricky, run, Ricky, run. I love that little end around that he took last night. That was a nice design from Kyle. I don't know if this is a great football team, but I think that they're a good football team that's getting better and has the potential to show up and play a great game on any given Sunday. Now, I don't know if they can just take that greatness and stretch it out over the course of, it is 6-7 weeks. You're going to get nothing but great football. I don't even know if that really exists in the NFL anymore. The NFL feels like it now lives to tear your greatness down at all times. Got Joe Singleton in here saying, Purdy should not be paid. He's a good quarterback, but not elite. I mean, what about him wasn't elite last night? He makes the right choice to take off with his feet. He does not put the ball in harm's way for the most part. He is generating yards and wins more often than he is generating, he got sacked and they lost the game. You got a better idea than Purdy. What is it? Who is it? Who is that player that you're going to be able to pay and never have to pay an awful lot of money to come in here and play decent quarterback for the 49ers? I don't understand. It's not your money. Starting quarterbacks in this league make $50 million. That's the price of a Honda Civic. When the Honda Civic is a starting NFL quarterback, that's the price. He's going to get paid. And you know what? The cap will grow around him. The ability to do business around that new number will still exist for the 49ers, but this is a guy who can finally do it. You got to be able to make two quick choices. You got to be quick with your feet. You got to be quick with your mind. And I think Purdy is very quick with both. I got people complaining about arm strength like they know what NFL arm strength is. He has the requisite arm strength for the position. Full stop. There is no perfect waiting for you. Patrick Mahomes has been drafted. He is not about to be traded. And look at the season that Patrick Mahomes is having. By the way, Brock Purdy, from a just quarterback stats standpoint, is having a better one than him. At what point do you just have to admit he's pretty freaking good? He is. I mean, that's it. Like, you could have your predisposed connotations to Brock Purdy, but eventually you're going to have to admit, like, you might have been wrong. You were certainly wrong about Trey Lance, and this guy is pretty freaking good after all. Like, is that light going to come on in anybody's mind who has made up their mind on Brock Purdy? He won't be good enough until he wins the Lombardi Trophy. Okay, all right. Well, if that's how you find out if somebody's good at their job, we shouldn't have you evaluating who's good at their job. The guy holding the white checkered flag is the one who won the race. Well, thank you very much for your analysis. The guy can play. The guy can play. Straight up. Feels like the defense is getting a little bit better. Feels like the offense is getting a little bit better. Hopefully special teams gets a little bit better. Maybe through the trade deadline you get a little bit better. 49ers can still have a very good year here. What is on the Damon Bruce? Well, Bill, I'm glad you asked. It is sliced ribeye, little steak sauce, provolone, onion rings, and then I leave the veg off. I like a little lettuce, and I like onions too. I like red onions. I add onions to my sandwiches. Godfather sauce as well. But no, I don't do tomatoes on my sandwich, and I like it on French bread. I know Ike's is very famous for its Dutch crunch. I'm a French bread guy. I don't like cutting the roof of my mouth. Good to have Lisbon in the audience today. Dante Zambataro, Dante, either way, Lisbon in the house. Now we have Chef A watching, which means we have a lesbian in the house as well. But Lisbon and lesbians, that's what I'm talking about. That is a diverse show. I know you're going to like that. I haven't even gotten to the point where Chef A's high-fiving that, but I know she is. There you go. Got some people liking it. Chef A. Lesbian. C'est moi. Yeah, there you go. JJ Rader. I heard Dutch Crunch mentioned. That's my go-to bread. Some people are down with the Dutch. Not me. Cheers to lesbianism, right? Show gets ridiculous at times. We'll talk sports. We'll talk politics. We'll talk lesbians. The show's unafraid. Look, it should be a really good and interesting week here. Tomorrow, the plan is to collaborate with Brad Graham, who runs SF Niners, which I believe is the most followed 49er content creation site out there. Brad does a good job, man. I'm learning things by watching his channel, so we're going to collaborate, I believe, tomorrow. I want to get Guy Haberman in to talk about his trip to Bloomington this past week. I feel like whenever Guy gets back from Bloomington, he needs to come on the channel. He doesn't know about this yet, but I'm going to call him to see if he can join us this week. Andrew Siciliano, formerly of NFL Network, is supposed to be joining us this week. Larry and I are working on a guest or two for Wake Up. So it should be a very interesting week here on the Plus. And I hope you plan on being a part of it. Thank you again so much for, all the support. We're officially over 25,000 subscribers now. Hit like and subscribe, hit notify, spread the word on this channel because word of mouth advertising is still the best advertising available. All eyes are going to be on the MRI that the Warriors share with us a little bit later on today. Steph Curry twisted his ankle last night. We're just going to cross our fingers. The Warriors host the Pelicans on Tuesday night, but all eyes on the MRI results of Steph Curry's ankle. I got to tell you, I heard about it while I was doing the live stream and the watch party last night, and I didn't see it until after the fact. It didn't look that bad. It's not like Curry was helped off the court and, oh my God, a terrible sprained ankle. Doesn't look that bad. Hopefully it doesn't cost him much time at all. They do have the Pelicans coming to town on Tuesday night. I told you we got a few interesting things to watch this evening. World Series Game 3 goes to Yankee Stadium, and Walker Buehler's got a chance to give the Dodgers a commanding 3-0 lead. And the baseball season could be over on Tuesday unless the Yankees put one in the win column right here. Ohtani's going to give that injured shoulder of his a go, apparently, and he will be playing tonight. Game 4, like I said, set for Tuesday. Let's see what happens with Game 3 tonight. These World Series games have both gone to the Dodgers, but they've been fun, really interesting games. It's been a good World Series so far. I'll tell you who's not good, whose franchise is officially now like, you guys are just pathetic, aren't you? What the hell happened? The San Jose Sharks. Have you seen the San Jose Sharks are 0-7-2. They host Utah tonight. Like, if you can't beat the former Phoenix Coyotes, what are you going to do? Like, somebody should seriously tell the San Jose Sharks that the season has begun. I don't know if they got the memo. Joji. Shohei's playing tonight. What are the ratings for this World Series like over in Japan? God. Chef A, thank you so very much. The success, the subscribers. Again, it's people like you spreading the word. It's people like you in this chat that other people want to come and hang out with. Michael Diaz says, Damon, I've listened to you and Ray Ratto for a couple of years. Why hasn't Ray come on your show? I loved his shit talking too. I've asked Ray a few times to do it, and there's always been like get back to me, and then I get back to him, and it never materializes, and I don't know. Ray's not doing much in the realm of sports these days. Is he? Is he writing like he used to? I don't know. Maybe the ship has sailed for me and Ray. Or who knows? Maybe he'll be joining us sooner than later. You never know. I haven't asked in a really long time. I don't want to say it's history, but it's officially time now for your day in history. That's how we're wrapping up this Monday. This is going to be a short show. This is going to be a long one. Look, mission accomplished, right? Oh, by the way, Smiley Dan, I am glad that you brought it up. I might quit my job and become a statue maker. The standards seem low. That Dwayne Wade statue in Miami is ridiculous. That head looks like Morpheus from The Matrix. That is not Dwayne Wade. No, it's not. Like, Dwayne Wade is trying to be gracious. Again, they've given him a statue. He's trying to be gracious, but he even looked around and he goes, I don't know who that guy is. And that was basically him saying, like, what the hell is this? That is a ridiculous statue. A ridiculous statue. Thank you, Smiley Dan, for bringing that up. I'm glad we got to it. I would have forgotten to talk about it. That statue needs to be history. All right. Let's begin our today in history with a couple of happy birthdays, shall we? Happy 57th birthday to Julia Roberts. The pretty woman turns 57 today, born in 1967. I've always liked Julia Roberts, right? She seems to be pretty good. She's a good actress. She's easy to look at. I really like Darren Brockovich. I don't know how they CGI'd her boobies to look that big, but I'm all for it. Looking good. Looking good. Julia Roberts, 57. She still got it, baby. Happy 69th birthday to Bill Gates. All Bill Gates did was change the way all life works on the planet by introducing the computer into our homes in ways that had never been introduced before. Bill Gates, you will not be able to tell the story of the country without Bill Gates coming in like a force to be reckoned with in the 80s and 90s. He changed the way the entire world runs. And he's given away an awful lot of his fortune, a lot of philanthropy there for Bill. Today in 1965, you know what we officially opened and saw? It's official. It's open, everybody. The Gateway Arch in St. Louis, designed by a Finnish-born American architect whose name was Eero Saarinen. It commemorated St. Louis's historic role as the gateway to the West. I tell you, when you're driving and approaching St. Louis, that arch comes out of nowhere. It's pretty impressive. It's bigger than you think. It's one of those bigger than you think, because all you've ever seen it is on TV. You get there and you're like, holy shit, that thing's freaking big. By the way, it is a historically significant day for national landmarks, because today in 1886, President Grover Cleveland officially dedicated the Statue of Liberty, a gift from France to the people of the United States. So apparently, French said, we got this big statue for you. You're going to have to build a pillar to put it on. So they build the big pillar, then they put the statue on top of it. Then finally, they're like, all right, we got to do a little dedication, bring in the president. Boom. I'm all about the Statue of Liberty. Today is when smart, obnoxious people started gathering en masse in the state of Massachusetts. Today, happy birthday, going all the way back to 1636, Harvard, founded by the Great and General Court of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, the oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, Harvard, celebrating a birthday today in 1636. That's old. That is old. I thank you very, very much for watching today. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for supporting the channel by supporting the sponsors, by hitting like and subscribe. Thank you for being back this week as we get you through a bye week with some interesting chat around the 49ers for sure. We'll see what the Warriors look like and how bad this Steph Curry ankle roll is a little bit later on in the day. And I thank you so much for stopping on by and hanging out with us. We would not want to do it without you. So thank you very, very much. And please do remember that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone.